Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Happy Cells and Souls. This is Julie Powers and I am a licensed Zumba instructor and I'm a partner with the Juice Plus company. And my mission is to help people understand that life is better when they're dancing through it, and I want to inspire healthy living around the world. But my expanded mission is to create better health at the cellular level and more joy at the cellular level. And I think that we all get this one body that we're going to live in while we're here on earth, and we're supposed to take care of it. But I also believe that we are supposed to be filled with happiness and joy, and we're supposed to share that with the world. And so that brings us to these conversations on this YouTube channel. And I've had this remarkable journey in life, and I get to meet amazing people. And I was recently connected with Mary Sundblom, and she is just great. And I'm so excited to introduce her to some of my other friends out there. And what I believe is that we can learn from everyone. It does not matter what our religious beliefs are, what our economic status is, what our family background is, where we fall on any of our opinions and beliefs, because every single person has something to share with us and we can learn from them. Because if we're not learning and growing, then we're just stagnant and dying, and that is no fun. So I think that we should learn today from Mary Sundblom, because Mary is so vastly different. If you could put us on opposite ends of where we fall on the spectrum of things when it comes to adventure and outdoorsy stuff, we are opposites. However, we found a lot of common ground in many, many things. And again, that's why I think it's so fascinating to open our minds up and really learn from people, even if it's something that we can't even visualize being part of. It's really cool to learn it. So Mary, you are a healer, a light worker, an adventurous, which I love that, you know, not an adventurer, you're an adventuress. And you empower women to find their true path. You're a yoga instructor, a massage therapist. You do transformational coaching. You were part of an entrepreneur project that was building a business from the ground up called Shabumi Paddleboards. And you've done all these amazing things, and you're still doing amazing things from the mountains because you live in Colorado. And what we're talking about today is paddleboarding. I've never done paddleboarding in my life. I'm not one to think that this is something that I want to go jump on and try. But I have a lot of friends and family members who would love to do this. And so I would love for you to kind of give us your background on how did paddleboarding come up? What do you do? Because I've seen some of your videos and they're frightening. They're frightening to me. So tell us about this. How did it happen? And walk us through your life.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Paddleboarding has become one of my greatest passions ever. Like, I live and breathe paddleboarding. Shabumi, the company that I started with a friend of mine in the past, really came about because we were yes to adventure. Like, we just wanted to get out. I was a raft guide about 10 years ago. It was my rookie year, and it was crazy high water in Colorado. I mean, 10 times what the normal.
Which river? Which river?
The Colorado River.
Okay.
Through Glenwood Springs.
Got
So I had been in rain, snow, and hail that week on the river, wetsuit, freezing cold. Like, sometimes adventure is not always all that fun.
No,
or you got to push through it. And so, yeah, this guy, Shane, came up to me and was like, "You want to go paddleboarding?" And I was like, "No." But he would not take no for an answer. So I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." And then I probably should have died because it was high water. I mean, we got to the eddy that's usually the size of like half of a basketball field, which an eddy is a recirculating, like, kind of calm spot usually. Like, so a place to take a break is you.
And it was not a break.
No. His first words were, "Oh shit, usually there's an eddy here." And I was like, ah! So, I mean, but I do thrive on adventure. I thrive in the outdoors. I thrive on pushing my comfort zone. That's what Shibumi means, is living on the edge of your comfort zone, pushing your comfort zone physically, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally. And with paddleboarding, that's one of the things that I love so much is a lot of people aren't comfortable on the water. A lot of people aren't comfortable outdoors. A lot of people don't feel like they have balance. A lot of people, you know, have some kind of limiting belief or block. And paddleboarding can be a really beautiful, like empowering thing. It's very accessible for just about anyone. Not river paddling. What I do is not accessible to everyone.
So nice still water would be the place to start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't go on the river without an expert that's going to save your life, because it could kill you.
Right.
But that just happened to be my path, and because my soul is so adventurous, it worked, and it got me hooked. I paddled probably 100 times that summer. Like, I was on the river constantly. I was a raft guide. I was paddle every day. And that just led me, I fell in love with the guy that introduced me, and then we got together, and then we started a business, which was really beautiful. And I am still really highly involved with Shane and with Shibumi. But as when the relationship ended, it just needed to transition a little bit. So we're like, I'm still partnered and work with Shane and Shibumi, but I'm not like half of the company.
Right. But you also, you've like been in competitions.
Yep.
And you are like a supreme champion paddleboarder.
I'm a good paddleboarder. I wouldn't say I'm a supreme champion, but
I just made up that term, but I think that it fits. And you've won competitions.
I have placed in the top 3 in competition.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So see, that's super
I got second place on one, and I was so close to first, but it's okay.
I have a friend who does paddleboard yoga, and she does that in her swimming pool and out on lakes, and I've seen other people doing that. My sister lives on a sailboat, and right now she's in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and she has a paddle boat, and so they do fun things with that. Not me. But I would think that because you're a yoga instructor and that you do have that extreme balance and flexibility, that you're able to really, monitor the movement of the board with the water undulating underneath you, the rapids and all the scary stuff that happens when you're on moving water. So that's kind of cool. And so now I'm sure you've never actually done the yoga on the moving river with the rapids. But
not massive rapids. Lightly flowing water, yes, but not, mostly in eddies on the river.
Okay.
Yoga
but then you can do the handstands and the yoga poses and all of those things. And
handstands are really, really hard. Headstands, I got the headstand down, but it's something you got to be really careful about because you're on a moving.
Right.
I mean, anyone that knows yoga knows that the neck is really fragile, and so
sure,
it's one of the things we all want to do because it's such a good challenge, but just be careful.
Right. That's definitely not something we're saying you should go out and try. I'm just saying that a yoga instructor probably has the greatest chance of success on something like that. So I know that there are different kinds of paddle boards.
Yes.
Is there one that would be the best kind for someone who's a total beginner? Because I'm thinking of, some of the people that I know, and my son lives in Colorado now, and I'm thinking he would probably love doing something like this at some point. So what would be the first thing that I should say, you should go get this kind of a paddleboard?
I would say it depends on the environments in which you paddle. If you paddle a lot on the ocean, you want a hard board. But for a beginner, it's good to start on a stable board. A lot of rental companies don't necessarily have a really strong foundation in the education of what's beneficial. And so, ocean, you want a hardboard because essentially hardboards go farther faster and are a little bit more efficient. Then you also don't have to blow them up.
Right.
If you live in a place where, like where I live, an inflatable board, or if you live in the city and you don't have a whole lot of space, then getting an inflatable board, again, like for beginners, it's start stable. Even if you go rent, go like ask for a stable board, because
And when you say stable board, that means inflatable?
well, stable, you can get a wide, long, stable hard board as well. The difference is inflatable boards, they don't have like curved rails, and like they're usually thicker than a hard board, and so it just provides more
All
stability.
right.
The board that I usually start beginners out on is 11 feet long by 35 inches wide. For someone that is really small, I'm also almost 6 feet tall. So for someone that's really small, that's going to be a really big board. But the thing is, what we've found in our instruction of hundreds and hundreds of people is if you start somebody out on something really stable, they gain the confidence.
Sure.
And then they're like, oh, this is awesome. And then that's just a launching point. They're like, okay, I love this. I want to pursue this more. And then, I mean, there's so many different types of boards. There's race boards, there's river surf boards. There's a lot. So,
Wow.
but
Yeah. And you don't really need a lot of other equipment. It is a sport that you can do once you have that paddle board. Do you always wear a life jacket?
so I always have some kind of flotation device on me.
Okay.
When I'm on flat water in not a intense environment, then I have a waist PFD. It's got an inflatable canister. So if I were to fall off my board, also on flat water, I highly recommend a leash. The wind is one of the most dangerous things on a paddleboard, because if you don't have a leash and you fall off your board,
The board goes
the wind
flying.
can go flying. And then if you don't have something that you will help you float and you're not a good swimmer and you're out, I mean, like it can get really dangerous really fast. And
Right.
that's one of the things I'm really passionate about in like trying to educate people about how to do it safely, because it's so accessible. People don't realize what kind of consequences can happen if something goes wrong. It
Right.
doesn't go wrong often, but it can. So,
I mean, it makes sense because, you wouldn't want something that's really bulky so that you can maintain your balance, but you have to have that something, like you said, the one that will blow up kind of if you have to pull it, something that fits tighter to your body that you'd be able to use. And just like a surfboard on the ocean, you have that thing that's connected to it so it doesn't.
right. So when you
Way
fall
down.
off, then
Right.
you can pull it back to you quickly,
Sure.
because your board is your greatest flotation device. Your PFD is a backup flotation device. So on the river, I'm wearing a full, because I do really rough, aggressive water.
Crazy stuff.
I do up to class 4 rapids on my paddleboard, and everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I freaking love it. It's like my favorite thing on earth. Like,
Do you have like little things that you put your feet into on the board, or you're just on the board barefoot?
just on, not barefoot, not on the river.
Okay.
I'll do barefoot on flat water in certain environments.
You got something on your feet that's kind of a gripping.
Either booties or river shoes.
Okay.
River paddleboarding is a little higher entry with the gear, because you need to have a PFD, a helmet. Generally, depending if it's not super hot water, which I'm paddling pretty much all year round on the river. I don't paddle as much in the winter on the river, but I have a dry suit, I have a wet suit, I have hydro skins, which are like thinner neoprene. For the river, you always want to have a quick release leash, and you want to attach to the core, not to your ankle.
Right.
Because the current can push you under, and if the current is too strong, we've had a few deaths in our area. There was one the first year I started paddleboarding because of leash entrapment, and he just couldn't, like, he got pushed under and he couldn't reach the leash, and he didn't know to put it around, like not wear one, or like, yeah. So river is totally different environment, and I highly recommend going out with an instructor for the first time on any kind of river.
Right.
Or yeah. River is just a little bit more than the beginner should go on without
It
knowledge.
is, right. All right. So you are going to be moving to a new area in Colorado. And when you do that, you're going to be offering still your massage and your yoga, and you're probably going to get back into more instruction for paddleboarding. So we're definitely going to include your contact information below, so that anybody would be able to reach you if they want to talk to you about doing something like that, and then you can give them all the details of where you're going to live, unless you want to share that, in which area and what river and that kind of thing. But I think it's so great because what you were talking about is you are on the river every day almost. I mean, like, you live it, that's part of your life. And I think that is something that is so important for people, is to be able to find that thing that fills you up, that, whatever it is. And that's why I tell people it's better to go through life dancing, and that.
Yeah, it sounds like Zumba
yeah.
and dancing is your passion,
right?
Like what really lights you up. Yeah.
Yeah, and even just music and rhythm and beat, and so that is what speaks to me. I'm not an expert. I'm not a super champion Zumba instructor like you are, a super champion paddleboarder, but I love it. And I don't care if I look like an idiot when I'm dancing and that I can't be super flexible and I can't do certain moves, because I don't care. I'm enjoying it and I'm having fun. But
that's what it's all about.
And I think that some people are going to find that paddleboarding, or maybe some of these other adventurous things that you do, you go hiking and camping and skiing. Doesn't sound like fun to me, but okay. And
it's kind of like rollerblading on snow.
Okay.
And it's a really good workout.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. And snowboarding and pretty much anything outdoorsy.
Yeah.
You can find Mary Sundblom out there soaking up the outdoor stuff. For
Absolutely.
me, I like to look at the outdoors. And I appreciate them and I love them, but I don't spend a lot of time out there because I have this thing against bugs and humidity.
It's real. Humidity isn't my favorite. And Oh my God, funny story. So my boyfriend is a pilot, has a backcountry plane. I just went out in the backcountry with his plane camping, met up with some other pilots and their girlfriends. And it was caterpillar century, or like caterpillar were raining from the trees. Like it would have been your worst nightmare. Like
okay,
they were crawling.
I have nightmares about that now. truly nightmares about that.
They were really cute little like furry caterpillars, like little silkworms.
Well, those are better than the big long green ones that just look weird. Now, I have great appreciation for nature, and I am gaining even greater appreciation for all things in nature the older I get, and the more that I am realizing every minute of every day how we are all connected. Every single one of us are connected throughout this entire planet, and we are connected to the planet, whether we are really admitting that to ourselves or if we're in some kind of state of denial. It doesn't matter. We all are connected. And so I think I'm stepping out of my comfort zone more than I used to.
Shaboomy, yes to adventure.
Shaboomy me, yes. And people that know me would be like, yes, I know you are, but not that much. But it's baby steps. It's baby steps, right? So is there anything, we have like a minute left here, Mary. So is there anything that you would really just like to share with anybody who happens to watch this video? Because I always say, I never know who's going to watch, maybe one person or 10 or 500. I don't know. But whoever it is that's watching right now, you have a message for them. What would that be?
I would say find something. Paddleboarding has been my thing, and paddleboarding might be your thing too. Find something that sets your soul on fire and play with it, explore it, have fun. Just look at the world with curiosity and find something that lights you up. and you will be so much better for it.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure.